back to TH Deck Building. I am your host, Demo, and we got some more Kamigawa Neon Dynasty spoilers here. This will probably be my last spoiler video for this set. And we're going to start off this time with the Myojin. That's right, they redid the Myojin. For those who don't know, the original Kamigawa set had a Myojin of each color. I'm going to sort of talk about them all at once here. They're all 8 mana. And they're all spirits, okay? And they're a little bit different than the way they originally did them. The original Myojin had a divinity counter on them, and as long as they had a divinity counter on them, they were indestructible. These ones, when they enter the battlefield with an indestructible counter on it, if you cast it from your hand, so it actually gets an indestructible counter on it rather than a divinity counter, and that is significant. So, first of all, I'll just say, and I know I sort of was happy about the idea of them making legendary creatures that don't work necessarily great in Commander, and now I'm eating my words here a little bit, because this is a case where I really think it would have been super easy for them to just say it enters the battlefield with an indestructible counter on it if you cast it, rather than cast it from hand. So that way you could cast it from the command zone, right? I don't know why they did that. I mean, it's sticking with theme. That's what the original one said. So, I mean, I guess that's good. The thing is, the abilities aren't even as good as the last ones, right? The last ones had really almost just really powerful. I won't say game ending, but really powerful abilities. These ones are really powerful too. I would say not as powerful. I would say the original Myojin had better abilities than these ones. The green one, you could just put any number of creatures from your hand into play. I mean, that's pretty good. The green one this time, remove an indestructible counter from Myojin of Towering Might to distribute 8+1/+1 counters among any number of target creatures you control. They gain trample. I mean, it's good. It's just, that's definitely not, it's not nearly as good as the original one, right? The white one, you remove the indestructible counter to create a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token for each permanent you control. Again, it's not bad. The white one and the other one was a board wipe. Just got rid of everyone else's creatures. I actually made a Myojin Cleansing Fire deck for one of my patrons a long time ago, and it was challenging. It was challenging doing that, where you had to, there was only the one way in mono white to get your commander into your hand from the command zone. That was Command Beacon. But also there was a couple other workarounds, and the workarounds you had there was Kindred Boon, because Kindred Boon put a divinity counter on your creatures, and that's what those original Myojin used, was divinity counters. So you didn't have to cast it from your hand. You could just cast it, then put a divinity counter on it, and you could keep doing that over and over. That which was taken was another one. That which was taken was from the original Kamigawa set, and that worked. And again, that works with all the Myojin, because you can just put divinity counters on them to reuse their abilities. They don't do that here, though, right? So that actually makes it a little bit more difficult, maybe. There is indestructible counters, though. So, for example, Daring Fiend Bonder, if it's in your graveyard, you can pay 1 and a black and exile it from your graveyard and put an indestructible counter on target creature. So there are alternative ways, not a lot, to put indestructible counters on your creatures. So if you're using the black one, which is Myojin of Grim Betrayal, that one, you remove an indestructible counter from it to put onto the battlefield under your control all creature cards in all graveyards that were put there from anywhere this turn. So again, not super fantastic. I think the original one's probably better. It made all your opponents discard their hands. So this one it's definitely good. Again, I think the original ones are better in all cases here. This one, though, you can use the Daring Fiend Bonder to put a counter on it. I'm talking about as a commander here, right? I'm talking with all these. I'm talking if you want to build these as a commander, what directions you can go with it. And then you got the blue one, which you can remove the indestructible counter to copy target permanent spell you control 3 times. So again, I mean, that's pretty good, but it's not even a permanent. You actually have to cast a permanent spell and copy that. You can't copy a permanent that's already in play. They really put a lot of limitations on these, and I'm not sure why. I'm now rating them as actual cards, not just commander cards. Like as an actual card to be played in any format, I just think they're strictly not as good as the original ones. The red one, remove the indestructible counter. It deals 7 damage to each of up to 3 targets. Yeah, that's pretty good. Again, if you can reuse this ability over and over and over again, great. But if you can't, that's a tough one, right? And the red one in particular, there's only one way, other than casting it from your hand, there's only one way to get that indestructible counter on it. And that is with one of my favorite lands, Tyrite Sanctum, right? You can pay 2 and tap and put a +1/+1 counter on a legendary creature, and it becomes a god. And these aren't gods, they are spirits. And then you can pay 4, sacrifice Tyrite Sanctum, and put an indestructible counter on it. So that's another way. That's the colorless, the only colorless option for putting indestructible counters on all these Myojin. So that's got to go in all of those decks if you're building them. And then the only other way I could find was Cathril Aspect Warper, right, which puts indestructible counters on stuff. And, you know, obviously you would have to be playing a Cathril deck, and then you could put the black, green, and white Myojins in there. But then you'd have to have an indestructible creature in your graveyard in order to put the indestructible counter on one of your Myojins, and the Myojin would have to be in play. It seems like a lot of work. And again, the abilities you're getting aren't incredibly, you know, they're not like game ending or anything. So I don't know. I mean, I couldn't even tell you what the best one is. Maybe the black one, because, you know, you can board wipe, and then all creatures will die, and then you can use that ability and put them all into play under your control. It's like a bad Rise of the Dark Realms. I'm a little disappointed here. I mean, these aren't super powerful, so I just thought it would be really easy for them to just say, if you cast it, rather than if you cast it from your hand. I see why they did it. It is, you know, a bit of a flavor thing because the original ones were worded that way. You know, I guess I'm eating my own words here a little bit because of the last video I did. I'm a little disappointed because it's just going to make these really difficult as commanders. And, you know, now it becomes even more relevant, the video I made about 3 cards the commander format needs, and one of them was just to put your command, another colorless option for putting your commander into your hand from the command zone. I think we might need something like that. I think it definitely wouldn't hurt. Anyway, moving on to Goshinte of Life's Origin. And as soon as I saw this one, I saw Goshinte, and then I saw the 5 colored pips in there, the Wooburg pips, and I was like, I don't even need to read the card, and I know what it does, right? That's the 5-color shrine commander that everyone has been waiting so long for. So 3 and a green, legendary enchantment creature, shrine, of course. 3/4, pay Wooburg, right? White, blue, black, red, and green, and tap. Return target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Obviously fantastic with shrines. You could use this with any enchantment, though, so you could do an enchantment tribal deck here as well. Also, though, whenever Goshinte of Life's Origin or another non-token shrine enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 colorless shrine enchantment creature token. Boy, this guy could get out of hand fast, right? It is a shrine, and also the tokens that you're making are shrines. So if you even cast 1 shrine, whichever one, it enters the battlefield, and you get this trigger, which is going to create a 1/1 colorless shrine enchantment. So now you already have 3 shrines in play, just like that. Right? Really easy to get that shrine count up, right? However, you know, again, I just think that this might be a situation where, you know, a lot of those shrines get really out of hand fast if there's like 4 or 5 in play, because you're getting the abilities off of all of them. And I just think that this might be another situation where you're just going to have a commander that people are going to want to kill all the time. You know, and it's an enchantment, so it's really easy to do so. You know, there's that. Not much to talk about here. I mean, it's an enchantment shrine tribal commander. It's, you know, again, a lot of people are probably really excited about this, so I'm happy for those people. Next up, we got Yoshimaru Ever Faithful. And this is a really interesting one. 1 white mana, dog, 1/1. Whenever another legendary permanent enters the battlefield, under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Yoshimaru Ever Faithful. Not bad. However, it's got partner. I bet no one was expecting that, right? So this card was clearly made for Commander, obviously. You know, as far as partners go, it's not incredibly busted. It's, you know, there's obviously a lot of other partners out there that are already way better than this. This is not going to be blowing anyone's socks off. I think it's definitely very interesting. I think it's, you know, it's a pretty basic build around. Whenever another legendary permanent enters the battlefield in your control, you put a counter on it. So, you know, the number of partners that can go with this, though, and the number of directions you can go because of that really opens up a lot of possibilities. I like it. It's a neat little commander. I like it a lot. And finally today, we're going to talk about the white land from the cycle that we've all been waiting for. It is Iganju. I wasn't sure if they were going to reuse that name or not. It is. The original white legendary land from Kamigawa was Iganju as well. So Iganju, Seat of the Empire, legendary land, taps for white mana and has the channel ability. Pay 2 and a white, discard Iganju, Seat of the Empire. Deals 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. So, as I suspected, it's probably the worst, I think. Maybe the red one's the worst. I don't know. It's a tough sell. I mean, red and white sort of got the short end of the stick here once again. It's still really good. I'm still going to, I'm actually almost happy that it's, it's going to be inexpensive, I think, because it's not going to be very popular. Maybe. Hard to say. As I've said many, many times already, the green one's going to be the most popular one by far. It's going to be super expensive, I'm sure. This one might be, because it's not a incredibly versatile ability. Definitely very usable, especially in a commander game. There's always going to be attacking and blocking creatures. It doesn't have to be attacking you. You can... This would be great in a goad deck, If you got a goad deck, you could put that in there because your opponent's creatures are going to be guaranteed attacking all the time. So, yeah, it's a good way to take out someone's creature, right? It's definitely usable, no question. I think it might be the worst of the bunch, but that's okay. It's still going to go in as many white decks as I could put it in, probably. Still really, really good. So, yeah, that is it. That is all, and that's going to be it for probably my spoilers for this set. I've got deck techs coming up, and I got top 10 lists and all that good stuff. So stay tuned for all of that, but that is it for today, and thanks for tuning in.